They say the best music's already been written. And I don't care if it's rock, if it's rap. You see a lot of artists recreating a lot of lyrics of music that has been played in the past. But, I look back like when we were in college, and in our locker room, the music that was played in there. And I mean, it was to get everybody amped. I mean, before the game, you had your own headphones on and you were sitting there getting focused and getting energized and getting ready to go seize the day in the moment.
Yeah, that was an interesting time, though. I mean, that music, I mean, I think back, it's like knowing what I know now that back then, I would probably went to more of a subtle relaxing to keep my mind and my body not from using all that energy, because as you get stoked in that moment, man, it's like an adrenaline rush. I mean, if you haven't experienced like a football game, you got to be careful of that, because then you'll
burn out before
you kick off. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Never in Reverse podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Axel, co-host Doug Cox. What's up, Doug?
What's up?
We are back in the saddle, buddy.
Back in the seat. Yes. Here we are. Another episode.
Another week.
Yes.
How's everything going, man?
No, good. Good. What's going on there?
It's Friday, dude. It's starting to snow today. So
yeah, it's snowing here too. Lovely.
Is it seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, it was 70 degrees here yesterday. Now it's snowing.
The climates that we live in, it's like you can set your watch and in 5 minutes it'll be sunshine. 10 minutes later it'll be snowing, raining, but it's that time of year. We're not done with winter yet, unfortunately.
Oh, we're close, dude. We're close. So I'm going to, first of all, Doug, I think we should say thank you. Thank you for everyone for jumping in and watching this. We appreciate you guys
listening,
joining us on this journey.
Yeah.
So one thing, Doug, for me this year that I've tried to put myself in my own life is gratitude's a new attitude. So give me one thing that you're super grateful for the week before we kick this episode off.
So I've seen, some big achievements for my kids this week. My daughter just got her driver's permit. It's been, she's put the time and the effort in, and helping her with that. And then, my wife is such a go-getter. I mean, everything I can't knock on wood. I mean, there's so many it's hard to narrow that down. I mean, we've had a very good week of work. I mean, it's running and gunning, but it's all good things. I mean, I can't narrow, one.
What's the top? What's a one? Just give me one. What's the thing that top of mind?
One?
Yep, just one.
I've gotten a lot of my honeydews done around here, so I feel good about that. So
I think your wife's she's going to have gratitude for that.
Oh yeah. No, she's mentioned that, and I feel good about it because when the weather turns, we like to play. We like to get outside and play, and I don't like having, these home projects and these little things that we try to get done, in the winter months. I don't like those carrying over into the spring and into the summer because we want to get out and play. So yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Awesome. Gratitude. Oh man, I'm going to say the growth of my kids, just watching my boys become phenomenal human beings with the,
they get that from their mother for sure.
Man, I'll tell you what, when being a parent is one thing, but just being an active parent is another thing, right? Like it's
100%.
It's actually being active in that moment it takes a lot of work, and you're going to, but watching them flourish is, and just watching them become great people and saying please and thank you and all these little small things that you just hope for your children to take through life, and watch them. I'm like, man.
And you're going to see some big growth in them. At this point, from 5 years old on, and you get out of that whiny, cry stage.
Yep.
And it's just
we're there,
tired, but you're getting over that hump, and it's fun. It's going to be fun and you and Jess are gonna enjoy watching them and their sports and their activity and different things, the things they come home and say and get a laugh out of. And
exactly. So yeah, that's it. But. So I'm super grateful for everything that's going on in life, and everyone here is healthy, and our families are all healthy and stuff like that. So I'm really grateful for all that. So, but guys, Never in Reverse podcast. We'll dive into just first of all, again, thanks for joining us on this. I don't even know, episode 20 something, what are we on, Doug? Do you know?
I don't even know.
It just keeps on
23.
We just show up and it keeps growing. Just keep on going. But no, we appreciate you guys diving in, and we want you guys to be active in this and just give us feedback on things that you've learned along the way that can help us keep moving in the right direction. Which is, I have a saying here is like, let's always move north, guys. Let's try to keep pushing and
Never reverse.
never in reverse, buddy. You can sit in the moment for a minute, but it's good to pause at times. But, today's topic, though, is going to be around the impact of music in productivity, Doug. That's kind of an interesting one for me. It's going to be a challenging perspective for me at times because I think I have music playing in my head all the time. So,
yes.
What does that come when you hear that? I know you listen to music a lot. So what does that do for you?
Well, it's not just, our family gathers around music too. We go to a lot of concerts. My wife loves live music. My kids love live music, but, it's kind of a energy booster for me in the beginning of the day. When I'll have music playing in the background when I'm working, a lot of times, especially
what do you wake up to? Like AC/DC?
Oh, Guns N' Roses, baby. Guns N' Roses.
When Doug goes in,
I want to be Slash in my next life. I want to be Slash with that top hat and the cigarette and the long black hair, playing guitar. No,
I can imagine behind closed doors what you do at home.
Oh, I'm not one to sing in the shower or
Oh, you're not?
No,
Really?
No.
Oh,
I'm not.
That's weird because I got a recording of you doing that. Doug's in there singing. I wish I was with better than
I do remember that. Actually, yes, we were on the road.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're there singing. What were you singing?
I can't. It was some country song I had stuck in my head.
It was definitely not Guns N' Roses or AC/DC.
No. I love country music too, so I listen to a lot of country music. But
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. I think we were on the road. We were in Minnesota, and I was in the shower singing. We were goofing off. But
Doug, we're here to be authentic and real. So do not. I'll catch you. I got you.
I know you did, and you recorded me too, you dork.
But what do you think though? On how does it make you feel in productivity?
So I listen to different, genres of music, but for me, it's just to kind of get my motivation and my energy going sometimes, and that's how I use it. When I go to the gym in the morning, if a lot of times, we have different trainers that are in there in the morning, and they always play different types and things of music. Well, there's this one in particular. He doesn't always play the most upbeat music when we're working out, and it's a structured workout. It's not.
What's he got, like jazz music in there or what?
No, she just plays. I don't know. I can't even. And during Christmas, she was playing Christmas music while we're in there stretching and all that. I'm going, you're not helping me get fired up here.
You're looking ready to go hit that couch and watch the kids open presents.
Yeah, I'm going Jingle Bells, and I'm getting ready to sweat and burn some calories. No, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
but no. Then there's other times, when I get in the seat at work here, I'll listen to different things just to kind of get me inspired and get me going for the day, while I can, or if I'm working through, tasks of, if it's some data entry, or where I need to be focused. And I like to have something on in the background, I listen to all kinds of different things, but I'm not much of a podcast guy really when I work, because I like to focus and listen to podcasts. And when I'm working, it's like I got to focus on the task at hand, but I need some surrounding noise. I need some supporting elements in that to kind of keep me just in the moment. I think
the state of flow, and I think in music for me, if I'm listening to music, it's I like that initial like let's get the day started, but then I also like that just quiet balance of like execution for me, where it's not like overwhelming. It's not going to.
What's your go-to, like smooth jazz?
I actually listen to a lot of meditation music, man. We put that on in my house a lot. There's a proven thing that's like there's a balance of a rhythm.
Define meditation music.
There's a frequency. It's like a frequency sound that just is really good for your body, and I just put that on because it just
I got the smoke alarm going off in the house. No, I don't understand meditation music.
Yeah, it's just quiet little sound. It just kind of balances.
If
Guns N' Roses versus that. So,
and if you've ever traveled with Jeremy,
yep,
and you share a hotel room with him,
yep,
he always listens. He turns his dang phone on with I don't even know
white noise.
White noise.
Yeah, you have kids, man. That's what they listen to. So now I got it.
I like silence, buddy. I don't know how you fall asleep and have that playing in the background all the time.
Hey guys,
you do that every night?
Here's the deal. Doug needs 9 blankets because his circulation's starting to get cut off. So in the hotel room, I like 60 degrees. Doug literally, before we arrive, he calls in the army. Get them in, and they roll in
Extra
like 19 blankets.
Yeah, because
I'm like, Doug.
I like the weight. I don't like to see my breath when I sleep, and I sure as heck don't like to listen to white noise, rainfall, lightning strikes, waves crashing, music, things playing when I'm trying to sleep.
Well, hey,
I don't know.
Let's stay on the topic.
Folks, yeah,
let's stay on the topic though. So, in the workplace, I've also seen, not in our environment, but just in others where music becomes a distraction, and it's like, you got someone that's, music is up to that person, right? And it's like this personal preference, but it also, there's music that can kind of capture the whole stream of people, and then there's some that when you're genre specific or lyric specific, it might rub people wrong. So it's like this, you got to be balanced, man. You got to be careful on the music you choose, and especially when other people are going to hear it, right? If it's on headphones or whatever, that's different. But any external noise can change the dynamic of that office space in a good and bad way. It's just kind of crazy because music is one of those senses that can actually change how you perceive an environment.
Well, and some people don't. It's not part of, what helps them focus or helps motivate them. Sometimes it's silence. I'll never forget this gal PJ when I was early in my work career. My cubicle was right next to hers, and she had her headphones on, but she'd stomp her foot to the beat, and it used to drive me up a wall.
So you're just hearing the beat?
I'm hearing the beat, and then she'd start humming. She'd hum along to it, and it was more of a distraction. Yeah. I know it was helping her, but for me, I could not sit there and listen to it and, feel the movement of her and the beating of her leg and the humming. It just did not work for me.
Yeah.
So, there were times I'd ask her, hey, do you mind, politely, because it can be invasive if you're not careful,
Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah, you got to be really careful in terms of the way that you handle and conduct music to the external environment, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever been around people where you walk by them in public and they're just jamming music, and not everyone wants to be part of your listening, right? Like, it's a personalized experience. Music is kind of unless you're going into a mall where they kind of, but that's all like psychologically built, right? There's like science behind all of that. Like, they've structured the music.
Oh, exactly.
People in a state of a frequency for shopping, and there's senses, smells, there's all that crazy stuff that gives people this relaxing feeling that maybe opens up a different area of their life that allows them to express different things, right? So, I think music is a very positive thing, but it's also in the workforce I think when other people are around, just inviting them in before you make a decision to externalize and make them part of your listening, because not everyone wants to listen.
No, there are those ones that don't. But then again, it's like you like to see people in their happy place though too, and if that's helping and supporting them in the day-to-day task or in the moment, by all means. But I don't know. For me, it's sometimes you just got to be careful, of what's around you. Like my daughters, they'll sit there and they'll play music loud in the house, and I'm going, guys, we're not all on the same wavelength as you guys right now. Can you turn it down a little bit?
Well, when Doug's in the shower singing, they're turning it up.
Yeah, probably trying to drown me out.
Because what I heard,
I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I'm not gonna lie, I can't. No, if you try to get me to sing karaoke, I've done it once in my life, and I'll never do it again.
And the beautiful thing is, I've already shared that clip, so we're gonna stitch that in so people can actually be part of that experience. So it's gonna be wonderful. So I'm just preparing you that it's going to be a beautiful public array of Doug Cox shooting. That was his prep for the American Idol tour.
American Idol tour.
Is that even around anymore?
I think so. Yeah.
No, but I think before we take a quick break, I think just getting into the science behind focus and what that does and what music can blend into that and how you get focused, Doug, and what works for you and what you've seen that doesn't work, and vice versa. Like for me, it's like I think we'll dive into more like how we can bring in this atmosphere to be more focused and productive. And when we're not in that state, like what does that look like, and how do we get back there?
Right.
And can music bridge the gap to get us there? But I think for now, let's take a quick 15-minute break, and Doug will be back here shortly in 15 seconds. Sorry, I don't even know what it was. 15 minutes, probably.
Long commercial break, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, commercials.
For this the podcast, it's going to be a quick split.
Yeah,
they're going to edit.
15 minutes. Here we go.
Well, yeah. But thanks for joining us, guys. We will we'll see you guys shortly, and appreciate you guys jumping in on this episode of Never in Reverse. Take care. Yep. Thanks. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Never in Reverse. Thanks for letting Doug and I take a quick break.
15-minute break. Commercial.
Yeah, a quick 15-minute.
Yeah.
We had to bring up Doug's, I was actually finding his B-roll. So.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
It's going to be wonderful. Guys, go viral with it. Just bring that part of it. We can just shorten it down to a quick clip and go, I think.
Yeah, hopefully it brings you a laugh, and probably, I'm sure
Look at
it's
him.
pretty funny.
He's already cringed.
Real excited. Yeah, thanks. Okay, on to the topic here.
On to the topic. So,
no, I'm going to ask you a question here. What, I mean, do you guys, are you guys very, music oriented? Yeah. I mean, do you guys, I know you like country music.
Yeah,
country music forever, but like what's
music,
Jess and what do you guys play in around the house?
Jess is like we play a lot of different type of music, actually. It's just depends on the mood, to be honest. We don't play like a lot of rap.
No? You don't throw some Tupac on or some Bone Thugs and Harmony for the kids? No?
I used to do that when I was younger, man. I think that was I think when I was younger, I think going through those stages, it was actually making your ego feel almost like you're heightened. I don't know. That's, if I look back, just kind of like you're cooler than you were or something. And that was my personal view of it. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but
that was a big era for that music that, and not that rap and hip hop don't have its place today, but I mean, it's like they say, the best music's already been written. I mean, I don't care if it's rock, if it's rap, it's kind of the old saying. And you see a lot of artists recreating, a lot of lyrics of music that has been played in the past. But, I look back like when we were in college, and in our locker room and we were playing football and, the music that was played, in there. And I mean, it was to get everybody amped. I mean, before the game, if you had your own headphones on and you were sitting there getting focused and getting energized and getting ready to go seize the day in the moment. I mean,
yeah, that was an interesting time though. I mean, that music, I mean, I think back, it's like, it's almost so, if I look back now, knowing what I know now, that back then, I would probably went to more of a subtle relaxing to keep my mind and my body not from using all that energy, because as you get stoked in that moment, man, it's like an adrenaline rush. I mean, if you haven't experienced like a football game, you got to be careful of that, because then you'll
burn out before
you kick off.
Yeah.
And I think I've done that. So
I've done it.
I remember watching some guys kind of just go in this like silent balance. And now I'm like, man, that's probably the better way to handle that, and then at kickoff, you can use that moment, right?
You harness that energy. You try to harness it the best you can. But you used to pace around that place.
I pace around still.
Oh, I know you do. But you would just get so amped and so jacked up and running around. And I mean,
yeah, I'd love to get people fired up, dude.
Oh, it was the greatest moments. I mean, I've got goosebumps right now, of those days of just when you walk out on the field, pregame and the music's playing and you're getting in the moment and you're getting energized. I mean, and sometimes that's how I use music at work too, though. It's like I try to get that edge again. Yeah. And I guess that's just sales, the competitiveness and the atmosphere that we're in. But
yeah, and I think music is like, man, it can be, you got to just like, I got a lot of squirrels up here, as you guys know, on one of the episodes prior. And it's like, man, I got to be careful about letting like music distract me, because I'll go off and be part of that in my own world and get nothing done. So there's like, I like that gentleman, because my mind's so busy. I like that really quaint, quiet music in the workplace and
harmonious moment.
Just to balance me out, man. If it's too like energetic, I'm in it. And I used to watch my oldest kid do that. Like, I got to be careful, because he'll go into that moment, right? He's a lot like me when it comes down to that. But
yeah, you get excited in that moment when that music's inspiring. Yeah.
You give an AC/DC right now after we win a deal, oh buddy.
Oh. Yeah.
And that'll take some time. And I think music and the way that you handle it can actually have a cycle of how long it takes you to get down back into that, like where your nervous system is balanced again, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to be myself. I've learned that I got to be careful about how high and how low I get, because every time I go that way, it's like the deviations of where I really want to be it takes a minute for me to get back there, which is, it's just who I am, right? Like, but I think the ability to use music to your advantage and focus. And what do you sense? Like, I know you're still trying to find a recipe in this crazy environment, but what are you seeing that's helping you move towards a place where you can feel this peacefulness?
And it depends on the day, like a Friday, my wife calls me Friday Dougie, right? Cause I'm always hyped, energized, bouncing around. Mondays, it's like, okay, back in it, here we go. And I look for different, kind of supporting elements. I listen to music a lot at work. I'm not a podcast guy, really. Like I said, when I listen to those, I like to focus. Those are more of like, if I'm traveling somewhere on the road, driving, I'll put a podcast on and tune in. But, for music in the workplace, it's kind of depending on the day and the moment. I mean, I'll listen to old school rap. I'll listen to country. I'll listen to classic music. I'll listen to classic rock. I'll listen to modern day rock. I mean, I listen to it all, but, then again, it's kind of the moment that I'm in and the feeling that I'm in, but I like having something on in the background personally. That's me. But
well, silence is, I think silence is also a form of music in its own way, right? Like if you really
like
break
when you're
it
trying
down,
to sleep and you don't have to listen to rainfall. Yes.
man, or you go pull into Aaron Rodgers and go into the deep, dark black hole in Ashland, Oregon, has no windows. Do you know that's in Ashland?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
What was it?
I can't remember. That was part of it.
It was a single door in a mountain, completely black, and they serve you through the little window, like back in the day when you're in jail, right? Like
solitary confinement.
But imagine, we all like that sound because it's a presence of something. But imagine, I think there's also probably more power in just being quiet. And that's a hard place for me to get, man. I like the action. I get a lot of personal positive feedback from being in the action. I like it. I like seeing everyone succeed and high five, and I like that vibration,
that energy.
Yeah. So it's like, I think but steering away from me to be focused is like, I'm like the guy like can do 4 things at once and get none of them done, but I'm still moving the needle. But it's not, this is complete. Let's go to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying so hard internally to get myself doing that so I can remain more focused, because I'm already here and this isn't done yet, which is probably a form of ADHD, I'm sure. But it's like at some stage, it's like for me to be focused and get to that point, I like to use just a quiet, simple music, no distraction. Let me get these 6 tasks done, and then I can step back for a second. And I've been trying to get better at that with my running list of productivity. I'm like, listen, how am I going to get there? Help move this along instead of being a distraction to that process. But I think music in general is something that has gives me during a time that I need, whatever the genre might be at that point, is typically based off my mood, like you, right?
Yeah.
Like what is my mood and what is going to serve me the best,
right?
And in turn serve everyone else, right?
Yep.
Sometimes on a long drive, it's a different form of music. Maybe it's Chris Stapleton and just want to get lost in his true life
lyrics
story.
And his melodies and exactly.
And then there's times in music that I find myself just listening to that, but there's also times where I find myself actually listening actively to the words. And it's weird how when you do that, you're like, oh wow,
there's a message
story.
In there.
There's a story.
Yeah.
And most of the time we find ourselves singing it and you don't even know what you're singing.
No, because you're just going along to the harmony, whereas you're not listening to the story within the lyrics,
But it gets you in these like moments of like a internal vibration of like a state of flow. And for me, depending on what type of concert or music that we're going to, like this year, I want to get out and go do some Red Rocks concerts. I asked my wife, hey, you want to go on a couple dates? So let's go do that.
Yeah.
Let's get 2, let's take our kids to one, but let's you and I go on a date and we do one. But for me, I'm an open book when it comes like the genre. If I'm going to do something external,
Mm-hmm.
I like watching people that I enjoy, but I also like doing something that's new if it fits within my. I'm not going to go listen to certain forms of music and go spend my time doing that. But if it's someone I've never seen, or it's something I've never done that's kind of in my bucket of like, I'm gonna go give it a shot. And
Yeah.
but there's some that I'm just not, right? Like some of the genres just don't align with me, which is fine,
Yeah. No, I've just got some of the fondest memories and moments, even from when I was a kid, like my grandfather, my dad's dad, my brother and I went and we stayed with him for, a few weeks or whatever it was one summer. And he was very prim and proper. Like when we sat down for dinner, I mean, we had, our tablecloths, we had our napkins that were rolled and the napkin holders, silverware in the right position on the table. And he always had this like classical light jazz that he played in the background. And I thought it was, and I remember asking him as a kid, I'm like, Granddad, do you ever listen to rock and roll? I was like 5 or 6. He's like, no, I don't listen to that. But every night when we sat down for dinner, it was just to calm the moment, and especially, young kids that are just always ramped up, and I just remember sitting down at dinner and I just, at a young age, just going, this feeling that just settle you emotionally. It just,
and it doesn't need to be real loud. It just
just light
quiet
in the background.
Yeah, just a quiet touch, and music is played all over the world in all kinds of stores and environments, and they've actually, the psychological touch of that, they've realized what it does for someone. It puts them in a state of flow that might be a persuasion technique to get them to buy more stuff or feel good that they're in that store. Or there's all kinds of, so music in our culture, it has a ton of different positions that are used, but in
environment.
So I think for me is like, if it's depending on my mood, the state of the day, how busy we are, how stressful it is, all these different parameters that can change my feeling to be welcoming, to open to, let's say, a nice jazz, right? Like my wife and I, there's an awesome jazz restaurant here I took her to not too long ago, and I was like, man, that was awesome. It was almost like, when you get older, you just, jazz kind of back in the day, but now you're like, man, I kind of can enjoy that. Like, just go back and
get that. There's just, just a different time, a different place, a different element, something you're trying to capture where it just helps you relax and just connect maybe, let go of the noise outside of you. Yeah.
It's funny though, you go back and just looking back at like my life from when I was a kid, all of those moments early on play a crucial role in the genres that you enjoy today. What was your environment?
Yeah.
What did you like? What did your parents listen to? What did your friends listen to? We listened to a ton of country music. So what did I grow up listening to? Country music. Dixie Chicks. I'm sure you. Wide Open Spaces. Doug,
great song.
Let's sing it.
Wide Open Spaces.
Oh boy, I guess so. That's a sneak peek into what's coming.
I didn't realize we were turning this into a karaoke session here today, but no.
Dude, but no, it's you looking back and just thinking about how much influence your younger years give you for everything in life, right? Like that's where the foundation's getting set. I think as I've gotten older, I've been like, hey, listen, I'm ready to explore more than what I was taught, right? Like,
it's always been an influence. What else is out there to listen to that's motivating, relaxing, inspiring? Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also time you want, I'm not going to go listen to certain forms of music because it doesn't serve me and my family. So we typically will align and we might deviate outside of like a genre that's like kind of a sub position of something like, country music's now like kind of country rock. So it's kind of a blend, right?
And a hip hop influence to it too. My daughters and my wife love Morgan Wallen. Like, I don't even know how many, I've been to a few of his concerts and he puts on a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And live music in general though, and what live music does for people, and you look around and everybody in that element, in that environment is happy. They're it's excited. It is.
Yep.
There's probably one bad culprit that's out there, but I mean, you look around and everybody is excited, excited for the entertainment, the environment, the liveness that's in and around it. And it's just a different feeling in people gather and connect in that. And my girls and my wife, they love Morgan Wallen, and he's kind of all over the board. I mean, he's got a little bit of a hip hop influence in it, a little bit of rock, some more classical style country, I call it. But no, our family, I think Lindsay's already got 3 or 4 concerts booked for us.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, we're going to Morgan Wallen again.
Where's that? Seattle?
In Seattle. Yeah,
Nice.
He's just a great show. And there's been some great concerts that I've been fortunate enough to attend. Elton John, phenomenal performer. And even later in his career, and I saw him 10 years ago, he was awesome. Awesome. I'd see him again in a heartbeat.
Have you seen Chris Stapleton in concert?
I haven't seen Chris Stapleton.
Dude, my wife and I she took me on a date early on in our dating side of things, and we went to a very small, quaint place down here in Denver before he blew up. Man, he was so good because, I think what happens and I think what's our culture is moving back towards is more authenticity. And I think that when you have someone that's telling their story and they're authentic, you're going to just be like, dude, I connect with this guy. He's grounded in himself. He's not reading off a script. That's some of those, he writes his own music, right? So
he does. And his personal story is phenomenal too.
Yeah, but he used to write music for everyone else. And he used to make all them wealthy off of his lyrics. And, then he's like, well, I don't know how he decided he wanted to be in.
That's how a lot of artists start though. They start out as writers first, and then eventually they kind of, from what I understand, that I've heard through some of the stories, but yeah, a lot of them start out as writers first and then they become, musicians of their own, or artists.
Well, with what we're going to see on this episode with you, I think you should probably start with writing.
I'm not, no. Hey, my best years are behind me when it comes to.
Oh no, buddy. This one's coming up. We're going to get a good glance at this.
Not a chance.
Dude, it's going to be, I hope our buddies we have a football group. I hope they catch wind of this and watch those lyrics just resonate.
Yeah. That's going to be the Doug. You caught me the one time a year that I sing in the shower. The one time.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Doug Cock-Thoreau show.
Yeah.
But no, guys, everybody, we're going to wrap this episode up, and we'd love to hear your guys' understanding of how you guys use music.
What focuses you?
Focuses you during your day and during hard times. Is there something that brings you back from your highs and lows that kind of gets you right back in the middle? We'd love to learn. Again, we're an open book. We want to understand what you guys do to serve you and your surroundings. And until next time, though, guys, we appreciate you guys joining us here on the latest episode of Never in Reverse. Please follow, subscribe on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere else. And please join us on the next episode, guys, and appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.